Hello and welcome to Your Story, Your Power. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Abby Osho, a personal leadership and storytelling coach. And I've come on today with a slightly different message, but one that I feel is very close to my heart, very real, very present. And so I thought, let me just come on and share this message. So I've just completed a series called Hidden to Heard, and I was interviewing 14 in total, incredible women that are doing wonderful things in the world, having significant impact. And I wanted to interview them so that they could really share what they were doing and I could ask them the questions that I wanted to ask. And like at the beginning, it was like, yeah, I'm really ready to do this. I'm all prepared. I've got everything ready. And then as the time got nearer and nearer and nearer, I could feel myself. I could feel resistance. And it was like, where's this resistance coming from? And suddenly up came that old story, that old default story. And that story was, Abby, you're reaching out to these women that are doing wonderful things in the world. Like, what gives you the right to reach out to them? Why do you even think that they might come back and say yes to you? What if they say no? And that old default rejection story came up again. And it's so interesting, isn't it? I am somebody that has done a lot of work. I work with incredible women across the world. I lead wonderful healing circles, retreats across the world. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that it doesn't matter where you are, some of these old default stories do not go away. The difference is in how you manage the response rather than reacting. And so whilst that was coming up, the rejection, oh my God, these women have 40,000 people following them. They're on like live TV. All of these questions that come up. You have to take a breath. This is what I've learned. And come back to myself in that taking a breath and say, okay, Abby, hold on a minute, right? Here you are, over 30 retreats in under your belt. You have spoken to hundreds of women all over the world. And I think it was the minute I was talking about the Hidden to Heard interview series, I allowed that word interview series to take on a whole new meaning. Really, these were just incredible conversations that I was having. So I had to reframe the way that I was speaking to myself in order for me to relax back into my nervous system. But these thoughts, when they come up, they are so real, they are really vivid. And the feelings that can sometimes, work alongside these are real as well. And when you're doing this leadership work, it isn't about coming on and talking about the aftermath, talking about when you got to the place. It's about remembering all of those little elements of the story that actually got you to that place. And that's what I believe, true leadership is. It's about sharing it all. It's about, a little bit of my hair's just dropped down. It's about sharing where you're at and being really honest and vulnerable about it, because that's how we all learn. I know that's how I learn. And I know that my series, Hidden to Heard, is really about women coming on, sharing their raw and vulnerable stories within leadership and what they're doing. And I think one of the things that I guess really came through for me when I was talking to myself, when I was speaking about what it is that I wanted to do and questioning what I was actually doing and why I was doing it, and the women that I was reaching out to and how would they respond to me, and writing emails, not once, not twice, but 3 times, in order that I got just the right message across to that woman. And so it's all of those little things. To be honest, in the end, I just thought, you know what? This is coming from my heart. Some it's going to resonate with and some it isn't. And there were no's. There were women, quite right, that said, actually, Abby, no, I don't feel that this series aligns with my message and what it is that I'm doing. And that was fantastic, because I kind of almost like, when the first time that happened, I was feeling back into myself, How did that make me feel? What was I thinking about Abby? What was I thinking about myself? And the quick little question came up. Okay, that's rejection. They don't want to work with me. Very swiftly followed by, that's absolutely fine. I'm so pleased that they are aligned with their message and they've given that to me, because there were so many other women that came after that said yes. Hence, I've got 14 out of 12 women that are taking part in this incredible series. And so my message to you is, it's not about that end result. It's having the courage to create something new and follow it through. First and foremost, irrelevant of what the outcome is, it's about how do you detach yourself from the outcome. And I've had to learn that, because I've been so attached to what I want it to look like, what I want it to feel like. But when I've allowed myself, when I've surrendered that attachment to, you know what, Abby, this series is going to be exactly what it needs to be. It will roll out in divine timing and it will be on point. And it's almost like within that letting go, it's like you're giving yourself that opportunity to breathe deeper. It's like a, yeah, that is what I needed to hear myself saying. And then you can lean in a little bit further and say just a little bit more about what it is you're truly thinking and what you're doing. And here's the thing that I found about this beautiful interview series was, the more interviews I did, the easier that it became. But not only that, you know, there were women that I've never met before that I was reaching out to all over the world, and they just had incredibly beautiful spirits. And I just felt so aligned with them, with the conversations that we were having, that it didn't matter about the followers or whether they were, you know, a TV personality or a radio host, whatever it was that they were doing, because I knew that the questions that I was asking, the raw and real stories that they were sharing were really true and congruent to them, and that aligned with what it was that I was doing and what I was putting out there in the world. And so it got to the stage where really I didn't want to be editing. I wanted to hear these stories as they were spoken, as raw and real as they were. And it was just such a beautiful experience. It really was. And I think as I continued to do it, the resistance melted away, and I was genuinely looking forward to who I was going to interview next, the questions that I was going to prepare, the questions I was going to ask, what they were actually going to bring into the whole essence of the series. And when I just stop and pause for a minute, when I stop and pause in my own peaceful silence, everything that I do, and I believe that everything that other people do, it comes from understanding who you are becoming. It comes from that foundation of within. And when you can just be with yourself in that space, with the mistakes that I made, because there's mistakes that I've made with words, some of the bios, I've got a little bit of the information around the wrong way, but it is what it is. I'm not editing it out because it's not about perfection. It's just about bringing together these amazing messages from women that are doing incredible things. And for me to learn and to understand that the value that I bring is the essence of me, is the essence of just being who I am, unfiltered, and this is it. And sharing from that vulnerable space, because I just think it's really important that we remember to do that. And when we decide that we're committing to something new, something genuine, something we've never done before, yeah, there is resistance there because you haven't done it before. But give yourself some grace around that resistance and know that by the time that you get to the end of that series, that you would have learned so much about yourself. And then it's about, how do you apply what you've learned about yourself? How do you apply that in your daily life, in every single moment of your day? Because every time we show up for ourselves and others, we show up in an energy. I am, for those of you that know me, I am big on energy. I believe that when we broadcast that energy, that frequency, we attract in what we are energetically putting out there in the world. And so once we get to understand how we are, how we're feeling, whether we are feeling happy or whether we're feeling less happy today, and what can we do to kind of lift our frequency up just a little bit more. Go away and do that, whatever that might be. That might be watching a comedy, it might be going for a walk, it might be listening to a podcast. Whatever it is, just know what helps you to feel better. And then when you're going into anything that you're doing, conversations, new clients, new customers, management, presentations, keynote talks, retreats, holding circle space for people, know that you are bringing the energy in that you wish to be surrounded by yourself. And I think I'm going to close it off there. So if any of this spoke to you, if you got some nuggets of learning out of this, I'd really, truly appreciate your comments below. And as this time goes on, I will be ensuring that there's more messages that go out about my Hidden to Heard series that is coming up from the 1st of September to the 12th. And I can't wait for you to join me and listen to these incredible women. And I'm going to leave it there. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay blessed. Until next time. Take care. Bye-bye now.